Wow. This is me failing on Facebook Live. I am an hour late for our first craft along, and I am unprepared, even though I tried. But one of the things I said when we got started was that I'm going to be real about this, so I definitely will. If you haven't already, or if you're not aware, what we're going to go through today is we're going to start by making this paper boat, which has been around for a really long time, and it's actually something that my mom taught me to make. And then after we make the paper boat, we'll use that same concept to make these adorable little paper puppets. And since this is one of our first craft alongs, I wanted to make it really easy and without a whole lot of supplies. So it's just these paper printables. And if you need the printable, you can stop right now, go to the link in the post and download the printables. They're something I made, and they're on saynotSweetAnn.com. And here's what they look like. So, all right, feeling a little flustered, but I think we're getting it together. To start, my name is Kayla. If you're seeing this video, you're probably following saynotSweetAnn.com on Facebook. That's my site. I have been a craft blogger for too many years and a crafter for as long as I can remember. Something that I really wanted to share with people was the concept of crafting or making things for the sake of it, because I really do think that things like Pinterest make crafting kind of a spectator sport, and social media too adds this kind of like one-uppiness, or this feeling that unless you're going to make something absolutely gorgeous, you shouldn't even try. And the concept of failing, craft fails, is very similar, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to just jump on a camera and do this, because I wanted to make sure that everyone saw when stuff like this happens, because it definitely does. So even those of us who are crafters by nature, we fail sometimes too. So let's get started on here, and I'm just gonna start by showing you how badly I failed. So this is this gorgeous paper boat that I made, and I'll show you the different view. So I made this a few weeks ago so that I could photograph it and talk about this post. And it looks really nice. It's got this beautiful little water thing that I put in there, and I designed this whole thing. So it took me a lot of tries to get the design to show up where I wanted it to on the piece of paper after it was folded. And then today, when I went to print another one so that I could show you how to do it, this is what I got. Yeah, you probably can't see that. It's super light, and my printer ran out of blue, I guess. So this has become this, which is kind of lame. But you know, it's a craft along, and it's all about the process. So I'll probably do that one anyway. You can follow along with me. Okay, so what you're going to need to get started today is really just these sheets of paper. Now, the boat one, which is the first one we're going to go over, the boat one requires you to print on both sides. If your printer can't do that, then just skip the second page. The second page is what shows up here in the middle of the boat, and it's cute, but I don't think it's necessary. So if your printer doesn't do that, just don't. For the others, they all print on one side. We've got this adorable little fox-like creature. We've got this Pac-Man. I call them Pac-Man kind of puppets. And this like bird version. What I really like about these pieces in particular, in terms of origami and stuff, is that you can do them with just a regular sheet of paper, which isn't usually the case with origami. Most times you have to start with like a perfectly square sheet of paper, or you need to start with some really fine paper made specifically for origami. These boats aren't that kind of thing. So let's get started. I'm kind of going to cheat a little here. That's okay, because this is about being real, and I'm being real with you right now. I'm going to cheat, and what I'm going to do is undo this boat so that I can show you the boat, because the one that I've printed, I don't think you can really see, so that's not super helpful for our purposes today, because we're really trying to show you how easy this is. And it really is easy, I promise. In fact, I think my mom first taught it to me when I was, gosh, I want to say 6 or 7. I remember my family moved around a few times in my childhood, so I tend to remember things in time based on which house we lived in. And so we lived in what I affectionately refer to as the apartment in Ohio. And so that puts me like between 6 or 8. Okay, so let's start here, and we're going to put the top-down view back on. And I can see a few of you there. I see Sarah Margaret and Kim, so hi. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the Facebook comments, and I'll try and answer if you need me to slow down. So let's get started here. You should have a piece of paper that looks something like this. If you didn't have a chance to print it, go ahead and grab a flat white sheet of paper. You'll still get the concepts. Now, we're going to start by folding this paper in half, design side this way, okay? So, and this will be the same way with the other puppets. Most of the stuff that ends up being on the outside starts on the inside. So, we'll fold it hamburger style, right? Not hot dog hamburger style. I can't be the only person who remembers that. Then we're going to fold it, open it up again, and fold it hot dog style. Okay, you following with me so far? Ooh, got a little blurry there. That'll give you some nice crisp lines here. And what you're going to do with those lines, fold it back hamburger style, and then fold to that line, okay? So you're making kind of like you would a paper airplane. You're folding to this middle line, okay? Make sure you get a good crease on that. A pro tip, you can use anything from a flat pencil to like a butter knife to get some really good creases. Okay, so once you've got that, take this bottom flap, because you've got about 1 inch of paper that's extra, and pull it up just like that. Until it just barely kisses. So you don't want to fold over any of this flap, but you want to get it on there just until it kisses. Okay? And we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. All right. And if this looks a little familiar, it's because right now it's a little hat. So if you were very small, I guess, you could wear it. Or if you were like a puppet, or I don't know, maybe, hang on. I got an idea. Let's make this puppet wear the hat. See? I am a puppet wearing a hat. Okay, sorry. When I was a child, this particular piece of origami absolutely fascinated me because of all the things it was. So it starts out as a hat, and you know, in my 6-year-old mind, this was a hat. And then the next part you do makes it into a little bit more like a boat. So we take these pieces here, and you'll see they're sticking out. Well, we want to get this into a nice triangle. So what I do is I just fold these down so they follow that edge. This part is not super important. So if you fold them any which way, as long as you fold them down. And honestly, it doesn't really hurt if you don't fold them down, but I think it makes a little bit sloppier kind of thing at the end. And I expect all of you at home are also putting on the hat. I expect photos of that later. Okay, so now we've got our sweet little hat. We've got these things all nicely tucked in. So the next thing we're going to do is, this is actually called a squash fold in origami. We're going to take this guy, and remember how we had folded this line? That's going to help you now, because you're going to flatten it down. And now you've got this square of paper. It's not much to look at yet. So Then we're going to take our square of paper, find the open part right here, it's a little pocket, and fold this triangle up. And then repeat on the other side. And you're starting to see how the outside is coming out, how the inside becomes the outside, because it kind of unfolds itself throughout. Just going to check the Facebook, make sure it's still going. Great. So now we take this, you can start to see my little designs and how they match up. You're welcome. That was tricky. This took me forever to figure out. Okay, so now we're going to do another squash fold. So we're going to open it up to where we had it and push it down again. And now we've got a whole other little square. All right, that part might be a little tricky, so I'm gonna do the 2 squash folds over again so you can see them. If you're not following, don't worry. We have at least one more puppet we're gonna go through in this craft along, so you'll see this same process again. You'll have another opportunity. Okay, so we started with our hat. Let's start there. That was pretty easy. So we got our hat, tuck these pieces down. We find the pocket. We kind of open it. We bring these 2 corners together. We open it. Bring those 2 corners together. It makes a square. So if you got the square, then the next thing you do is fold these 2 flaps up. Okay. And I cannot believe there's a fly in here. I'm sorry. I do what I can. So you take that, and now we're going to squash fold it again. So we're going to find the pocket. There's the pocket. Take the 2 corners. Bring the 2 corners together. All right? And so we end up with another little square. Now, remember how I told you this used to fascinate me as a child because of all the things it was? We already saw it be a hat. Well, now, this was probably the version I used the most. Now it's like a little puppet. Yeah. You stick your fingers in. There's 2 pockets that were made by folding your square in half. And you stick your fingers in and you're like, it doesn't super work because you don't get a whole lot of range of motion. If you try and open it too much, it'll tear. So be careful because you don't want to lose all your hard work you just did. All right, now comes part of the tricky part where it becomes a boat. So we take this thing that we have, and I showed you where I had my fingers in it right here. I'm waiting for the zoom to happen. There we go. And you put your fingers in it. You've got your little puppet guy. Now, if you ever so gently begin to open your fingers, you'll see this part right here kind of wants to pull out. Okay? So if you let it, it does this. You get like this flat part. And it's a little tricky, but then you squish down the center. I'll do that again on the other camera so we can see it in another angle. So this is what I started with. I have this thing that I folded, right? And then you put your fingers inside, gently begin to open it, and when you do that, you'll see there's this piece that wants to open. But it's not quite a boat yet because you've got like this mountain in the center. So you just have to kind of finagle it until you can get that mountain to flatten out. Okay, when you get it to flatten out, you have a boat. Look at that. We did it. Yay. Now it's a boat. And this will actually float. So you can float it this way. When we used to float it on the creek behind our house, my mom always floated it flat. And I'm not sure if that's because the creek was just so bumpy. It had so many rocks that she needed it to float that way. But it also floats this way. Plus it just looks cool. It's clearly a boat now. You can see it. And you made a thing out of a piece of paper for fun at 9:23 in the evening. So, congrats. That was cool. Okay. So there's the boat. Let's just pretend that we did it from this one, but this is terrible. It's like pink and awful. But this is the finished one, so yay. You can print as many of these as you want. They're really cool for like kids and Boy Scout stuff, and it makes a boat. Now, this exact same folding method makes these other 2 puppets. It's not like you start with it and then do something else. This exact thing becomes 2 other puppets. I'm going to show you. Here's the Pac-Man type puppet, which looks silly because it's a boat, but and then here is the the other puppet. So it makes all of these with just that one thing that you did. So now we're going to use the exact same steps, but we're going to start with this sheet of paper to make the moon, what I call the moon face puppets. These are the moon face puppets. If you've printed them, you can choose whichever one. Obviously the method is the same, but go ahead and grab one and let's start again. Okay. This one should be better because it doesn't already have the folds on there. So like I said before, the outside starts inside. So we'll take this, I'm going to fold it in half, just like this. It's another thing my mom taught me, was to match the corners when you folded things. I remember being in first grade in Hastings, Michigan, and folding things. I don't even know why. Okay, so you take this and then we're going to open it. That was hamburger style. We're going to do it again, hot dog style. I'm working not to get my forehead in the video. Okay. Got it. If you successfully did the boat, please comment a photo of that right now on Facebook. I know you've got your phone. Don't act like you don't. Everybody has a camera with them at all times, because I would really like to see it. Okay, so we got this. Now we go back to our hamburger style. We use the line that we found, or that we made, to start bringing these down, kind of like a paper airplane, just folding the corners down. Remember my pro tip about using the edge of a pencil to get a good crease on there. We'll do that again. Okay. And now these little flaps, we fold them up. On the boat, they were visible. They won't be visible really in the puppet, so it's not such a big deal. And we fold it over. Do it just so they kiss. Okay. And now I don't really care for these edges, so I like to fold them back to get the line, and then just fold them forward so they don't stick out. Okay, so we'll do that. Yeah, Sarah, it's just an 8.5 by 11, so you can start with just blank paper. It also seems to matter more that it's a rectangle than it does that it's 8.5 by 11. So I've done this. Oh, please don't tell. I bet you Sammy is not watching this, but I've done this in church for Sammy Marisegan's son, Emin. He seemed to be struggling to pay attention, and I did it with a church bulletin, which was not quite 8.5 by 11, so it doesn't have to be exactly that. It seems to matter more that it's a rectangle. All right, so I put this one back in. And I do apologize because there is a bit of a delay. The video, it takes it, I want to say like 10 or 15 seconds to catch up on Facebook. So if I'm not answering you super quick, I might have answered you and you're just waiting for the video to catch up. Okay, so now we've got this, which is where we start to do our squash folding. And you'll see it a little bit better now that I didn't already have it pre-folded. So I'm going to find the pocket right here in the middle. I open it up, bring these two edges together, and in doing that, it makes a square. Okay? Just get that guy nice and flat. Okay. So now we're going to take and fold this up to meet this corner. If you didn't hear it in one of the earlier videos, that boat we did, that's actually been found in Japanese wood panels, decorative wood panels, dating back as far as the 1700s. So that boat has been around, that shape, in origami for a really long time. I have not seen the puppet part. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who discovered this as a child, but I've not seen anybody talk about the puppet part, and I can't really find the history of that. But anyway, So now we've got this, and you can start to see our puppet coming alive. We've got some cute freckles and some eyes here. We're going to do another squash fold. So again, we find the pocket, which in this case is the mouth, so that looks a little lewd there. But we'll take the pocket, and then we put these two pieces together. Okay? It's going to make another square. Now, at this point, just like we did with the last one, we're going to fold it, and it makes another little pocket, which, you know, you can fit 2 fingers in there, one on top and one on bottom. When you do that, and you can kind of see it here, so when you start to open it, this point comes out. This point wants to open. So let's go ahead and let it. Okay? And now we end up, I'm going to try not to move it, you end up with a little bit of a triangle, or I guess a pyramid. And if we can coax this middle section here, you can coax this middle section down, okay, then you give it a crease right there. And now, there's your little puppet dude. And that's the exact same, sorry, I did that one reverse. Did you see that? Well, we said we were going to fail, right? So I was using him this way, which does work, I'm noticing, because of the way I designed it. So it looks super scary on the back end. It's like mouth is on the outside. That's probably not the way you want to use it. So you should probably use it like this, because that's how it was intended. If you're just joining us, we're using the printables at the link there in the post to make a very, very easy craft. It's our very first craft along. We're making a few puppets. Here are some examples. This guy, super adorable little like fox thing. And this guy, and we already made this adorable boat. Don't tell him, for the people who were here before, don't tell him we cheated on the boat. Okay. So there you go. Now you made a moon face puppet. And these ones are super easy. They use the springiness of the folded paper to open. So pretty much anybody can do them. They don't take a whole lot of finesse. Kids can make it happen. As I said, I've done these with anything that's 8.5 by 11 or in a rectangle sort of shape. And also, I did not realize just how scary it was to reverse his mouth. It makes it look like, wasn't there, I feel like in the Beetlejuice movie, somebody like freaked out and opened their mouth so wide it went backwards, and I don't know. I have like this disturbing half memory about something like that. But that's what crafting's about, is sharing disturbing half memories with people who are interested in crafting with you. It's easier for me because nobody can talk back. Okay, so now that we've done this guy, we're going to do, I think, our last puppet for this craft along. And this one, we're going to start with this paper, or I am. You could also start with the fox if you'd rather do that one. But I'm going to start with this one to show you this type of puppet. And I refer to this kind as the Pac-Man kind, because the shape all by itself makes kind of a Pac-Man if you do it with just white paper. So I always refer to it as that. And this one's a little bit trickier, so like older kids can do it because you have to really balance your 2 fingers in order to get it to move. So if you have a kid who, you know, maybe doesn't have finesse, somebody kind of young, like my 3-year-old, then it would just probably become crushed. Side note, you can tape them together and they make these really cool spinning tops. Seriously, this one origami thing makes everything. All right, going back to top down so we can look at this. Okay, so starting with our sheet of paper, again, 8.5 by 11, printed out from the link in the post. And if I could get my, hey camera, pay attention, we're down here. Okay, so we start with folding what will eventually be the outside, inside. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't know why sometimes I want to fold to myself. Sometimes I want to fold away. I think, again, it's probably because I'm trying to keep my forehead out of there. Alright. And as I said, if you made the boat, or if you have now successfully made the moon face type of puppet, please put a picture on there because I really want to see how everybody else did it. Bonus points if your printer ran out of ink and everything looks strangely pale and pink, like mine do. Okay, so I folded hamburger style and then hot dog style. And now I'm going to fold hamburger style again. and use the line, this little, you can kind of see it, there you go, the little fold line, to fold this one back down. We're kind of like when you make a paper airplane, so we're just making angles. And fold it on both sides. Use my pro tip of a pencil to get a good crease. Okay. And now we're going to take these little flaps, put those up. Other side. Put that up. Enjoy my little hat for a second. We'll put that on just to model it. It's adorable little, like, I bet you if you did this with newspaper or something bigger, 11 by 17, that might fit on your head. Or if your head was not as big as mine. All right, so now I don't like these little bits, so I like to fold them back and then fold them forward so they tuck in. Okay. And I wish I had a different color paper so that you could see a little better, but fold it back. Okay, you can see it there. Then fold it in so it's tucked in there. See, just folding it in. Get it good, tucked in. And as I mentioned, that doesn't really do any, like, it doesn't super affect the final product if you don't do that. So, whatever. I'm doing it because I don't like it when it sticks out later on down the road. It kind of makes the puppet, one of the puppets, it makes them look like they have teeth. So, I mean, if you like that, you could try it. So now we're going to do the squash fold, where we take these 2 points and we put them together, and it kind of squashes into a square. We're going to fold right here, fold it up. See, is this becoming old hat for you now? This is one of the things, I rant a lot about people telling me that they are not crafty, or they wish they were crafty, or they can't do that, it wouldn't turn out well. And one of the things I really wanted to emphasize, here I'm doing another squash fold, with these craft-alongs is that there's always something you can do. And more importantly, who cares if you don't do it right? Who cares if it's not perfect? Who cares if you tried to print out this boat and it looks like the albino version of a boat, like sailing on pink cotton candy? It's not about that, It's the same as those adult coloring books. It's the same as sitting down to do your nails or a crossword or watch a movie you like. It's about having a moment, right, to yourself. And for me in particular, it's about having a moment to be alone with myself, I guess, and to be creative and do something with my hands. I'm a graphic designer. I work with programmers. I'm on the computer all the time, and sometimes I just need to touch something. Okay, so this one again, we put our fingers in here. We made these 2 little pockets. I'm going to put my finger in. Here, I'll do it this way so you can see a little better. As I start to pull, as I start to open, right, like this, as you start to open, this piece kind of separates. And so then I can pull on it. And when I pull on it, then I need to, there's our guy's face, you can see it. But he's got this weird white thing in the middle. So you gotta kind of use your fingers and coax that guy to fold down. And so when you get him all nice and folded down, there we go. Now you have the Pac-Man style puppet. So you can see he's cute. It really works for birds, I think, because he looks very beakish. And they're kind of cool. I mean, they can, pick things up. There's no end to the cool stuff. Kids especially like this one. But like I said before, if you had like a toddler like mine, they probably couldn't handle it. They'd probably squash it. Okay, so to recap, crafting's awesome. It doesn't matter if you fail. These are easy. They've been around for hundreds of years. I just did 3. I think I just did 3. in under 30 minutes. So that means it'll take you less than 10. I have all of these adorable little woodland animals, and boats, and oh, that's the same fox guy. These cute little freckle-faced triangle diamond people. They're all available on the link in the post, and that's saynotsuidan.com, which of course is my website. I'm a blogger there. I'm Kayla. Those are all free for you to use. So if you have a brownie troop or a Sunday school, or it's supposed to rain tomorrow and you need something for some kids to do, go ahead and grab them. And if you need to, follow this video. I will put it in the post. And make sure you take pictures and you share it with me, because while it's not about the final product, the only way we're going to make it okay to fail is if we show people when we fail. And I think bloggers, myself included, are really, really bad at that. We doctor our photos. We show you guys only the most perfect thing. We never, ever show sort of our dirty laundry. I was just checking to see if I had it over here. When we first started talking about this, I did show a little bit of my dirty laundry. But I promise to keep being real with you. I was an hour late for my very first craft along, and my printer ran out of ink. So consider that being real. Thanks everyone for your time. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for your sweet comments and spending some time with me this evening. Have a great day. And don't forget that it's all about the process.